The Role of the Antichrist in End-Time Prophecy. Part 1. The Hook and the Promise. Beneath the flickering glow of a single candle, amidst the hushed whisper of ancient texts, we embark tonight on a journey into one of the Bible's most chilling and compelling prophecies. For centuries, believers and skeptics alike have wrestled with a shadowy figure, a spectral presence that looms large over the narrative of the end times, the Antichrist. Is this an individual, a system, a spirit of rebellion, or perhaps all three? How can one figure embody such profound opposition to the divine, and what role is he truly destined to play in humanity's final chapter? Tonight, we peel back the layers of prophecy, delving into the very heart of the biblical witness to understand the enigmatic force that the scriptures declare will rise in the last days, orchestrating a desperate challenge to the reign of God himself. We will explore the ancient texts, decipher the symbols, and ponder the profound theological implications of this figure, inviting you to reflect on what these prophecies mean for our world today. Part 2. The Journey of Deep Discovery. A. The historical and cultural context, seeds of rebellion. To fully grasp the concept of the Antichrist, we must first understand the ground from which this prophetic seed emerged. The idea of an ultimate adversary is not unique to Christianity. Echoes of cosmic conflict and a final, great evil can be found in various ancient mythologies and religious traditions. However, the biblical portrayal of the Antichrist is deeply rooted in Jewish eschatology, particularly the prophetic writings concerning a coming day of the Lord and the struggles preceding the Messiah's reign. The Hebrew prophets, especially Daniel, spoke of powerful kings and empires that would oppose God's people and his divine plan. Daniel's visions, with their succession of beasts and the little horn that speaks arrogant words against the Most High, lay crucial groundwork for later New Testament developments. By the time of Jesus and the early church, the expectation of a Messiah was intertwined with the dread of a counterforce, an ultimate foe. The political and cultural milieu of the Roman Empire, often persecuting early Christians and demanding worship of its emperors, provided a tangible context for understanding a figure who would elevate himself above all that is called God. The early church fathers, living under the shadow of Roman power, often saw manifestations of an antichrist spirit in their contemporary oppressors, solidifying the idea of an antagonist who would directly challenge God's authority and demand worship. B. Decoding the Scripture. Tracing the shadow, the New Testament provides the most explicit and developed understanding of the Antichrist. Our primary sources are found in the epistles of John, the writings of Paul, and the book of Revelation. John's epistles offer the initial naming and spiritual framing. Children, it is the last hour, and just as you heard that Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have appeared. From this, we know that it is the last hour. 1 John 2:18. John further elaborates, "Who is the liar but the one who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, the one who denies the Father and the Son." 1 John 2:22. Here, John presents both a spirit of Antichrist, anyone who denies Christ and his divine nature, and a singular, future Antichrist. This figure is characterized by a fundamental theological opposition, the denial of Jesus as the incarnate Son of God. Paul, in 2 Thessalonians 2, introduces the man of lawlessness, or man of sin, who will precede Christ's second coming. Paul writes, "Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come, unless the rebellion comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself against every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God." 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4. This passage paints a vivid picture of a blasphemous figure who not only opposes God but deifies himself, demanding worship in God's sacred space. Paul also mentions a restrainer currently holding back this revelation, a mysterious force or entity whose removal will pave the way for the Antichrist's ascent. The book of Revelation, with its rich tapestry of symbolism, offers the most extensive and often debated descriptions. Chapters 13 and 17 introduce the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth, often interpreted as the Antichrist and his false prophet. The beast from the sea is described as having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns were 10 diadems, and on his heads were blasphemous names. Revelation 13:1. He receives power, a throne, and great authority from the dragon, Satan. And he was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and he was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. He opened his mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Revelation 13:5-6. This beast is a global political and religious power, demanding worship and persecuting those who refuse. The mark of the beast, 666, becomes a sign of allegiance and economic control, preventing anyone from buying or selling without it. C. The hidden theological meaning, a counterfeit kingdom. Theologically, the Antichrist represents the ultimate culmination of human rebellion against God. He is not merely an evil person, but an embodiment of profound spiritual opposition, a satanic imitation of Christ. Just as Christ came to reveal the Father and establish God's kingdom, the Antichrist will come to deceive humanity, deny the Father and the Son, and establish a counterfeit kingdom based on self-worship and lawlessness. His rise signifies the absolute climax of the spiritual warfare that has raged since the fall. It underscores the ultimate choice humanity faces: allegiance to Christ or allegiance to a usurper. The Antichrist's actions, his blasphemies, and his demand for worship reveal the depths of satanic hatred for God and humanity, and his attempt to thwart God's redemptive plan. His temporary success serves to test the faith of believers, to refine them through tribulation, and to ultimately demonstrate God's supreme power and justice when he finally vanquishes this adversary. The Antichrist is a stark reminder that evil, however powerful it may appear, is ultimately finite and destined for destruction. D. Controversies and theories. A shifting image. Over the centuries, the identity of the Antichrist has been a subject of intense debate and speculation. Different theological schools and historical periods have proposed various interpretations. Preterism. This view holds that the prophecies concerning the Antichrist were primarily fulfilled in the 1st century AD, often identifying figures like Roman emperors, for example, Nero, or the Roman Empire itself as the Antichrist. Historicism. This perspective sees the Antichrist as a system or institution that developed over time throughout history, particularly identifying the papacy or certain political regimes as manifestations of the Antichrist power. Futurism. The most common contemporary view, futurism, posits that the Antichrist is a specific individual in the literal end times, just before the second coming of Christ. Idealism, spiritualism. This interpretation views the Antichrist as a symbolic representation of evil, rebellion, or any force that opposes Christ, rather than a specific person or institution. It emphasizes the spirit of Antichrist present in all ages. These differing views highlight the complexity of biblical prophecy and the challenges of interpreting highly symbolic language. While interpretations vary, the core message remains consistent. A formidable adversary will arise, demanding absolute loyalty and challenging God's sovereignty, preceding the ultimate triumph of Christ. Part 3. The Eternal Echo. As our candle burns low, we are left to ponder the profound implications of the Antichrist's role in end-time prophecy. This figure, whether a literal man or a pervasive spiritual system, serves as a stark warning and a powerful motivator. He embodies the ultimate deception, the counterfeit of truth, and the culmination of humanity's inclination towards rebellion and self-worship. Yet, his story is not one of ultimate victory, but of ultimate defeat. He is but a temporary usurper, destined to be overthrown by the glorious return of Christ. What, then, does this ancient prophecy whisper to us today? Perhaps it calls us to vigilance, to discern the spirits of our age, and to recognize the subtle ways in which the truth of Christ can be denied or undermined. It invites us to examine our own loyalties, to ask ourselves where our ultimate allegiance lies, and whether we are truly worshiping the Creator or inadvertently bowing to the deceptive promises of a fallen world. The shadow of the Antichrist, therefore, illuminates the enduring light of Christ's sovereignty, reminding us that even in the darkest hours, hope remains, and the final victory belongs to the Lamb. It is a story not just of impending darkness, but of ultimate redemption, a testament to God's unwavering plan amidst the tumultuous currents of history.